Hello, everyone. This is Phil Johnson, and joining me today is Sherry Welsh of sherrywelsh.com. Sherry's a leadership coach who works with professionals, both individuals privately and groups within companies. And Sherry has a new book coming out soon. It's titled Slowing Down: Unexpected Ways to Thrive as a Female Leader. Today we're going to talk with Sherry a little bit about this theme of slowing down. Sherry, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Phil. I'm looking forward to it.
Sherry, in the first part of your book, you make a comparison between two pretty distinct ways of living. You call one the slowed down life and the other treadmill living. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about those two.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll start with the treadmill living, because that seems to be where a lot of people are caught up in today, and that's where I was for many years. And treadmill living for me was being part of going through the motions day in and day out, and having everything very structured, everything very clear on what was expected and what I was going to do and deliver that day. And it didn't leave a lot of room for creativity. It left mainly running from meeting to meeting, getting on planes and traveling from location to location for the work I did. I was part of a global sales team. And treadmill living is really losing sight of what's available right now in front of you. And for me, it was just waiting till the week was over. I couldn't wait till the month was over. I couldn't wait till this year was over. It was always going out into some other time than enjoying and loving what I had right now in this moment. So treadmill living from clients that I work with comes up all the time. They tell me they're overwhelmed. They don't have enough time to get done what they want to get done in a day. They don't have any energy left at the end of the day to enjoy the time with their family or go out with friends or whatever they want to do in their personal time. And so living that way is exhausting over time.
Mm-hmm. Would you consider that while you were living that way, you were successful?
Yeah, it's a good question. I thought success was something out there. Success was something I was working towards, instead of something I theoretically had already achieved. So there was always something more I was I was trying to get, or more I was trying to do. And so even though from many people's perspective, I was successful, and I had, financially, I was financially secure. I had companies that I worked for that were fantastic companies. People were dying to get jobs with them, So I was very fortunate with the type of people I worked with and the companies I was a part of. But I really didn't see it. I took it for granted, because I kept looking for that success that was down the road, somewhere further.
I see.
And it was either the next position, or a broader responsibility, or more business growth, or whatever was going on in my particular role at the time. It seemed like it was never right there. It was always further out.
So you're not talking about struggling to make ends meet or working hard in that kind of a sense where you haven't achieved your financial goals.
Well, yes and no. I mean, as you progress on autopilot, you kind of just keep expecting to get the bonus you're going to get. You expect to get the raise you're going to get. So you don't appreciate it or I didn't anyway, appreciate it as much when it came through, because it was kind of expected. So you didn't see it as an accomplishment. You didn't see it as a success. I didn't anyway. And what happened was I lost sight of, the day-to-day. Everything was taken care of, but I still felt there was more. So I still had the typical stresses in my head of, well, I got to make more money to save for my son's college, or I got to make more money to pay off my mortgage faster, or I have to make more money, to get new outfits or whatever it was that was outside of me. So even though, from many people's standards, I had achieved financial independence, I still didn't think it was enough. There was always something more I could do to get more money, to do more, take care of. So it changes for people, it's all relative. Like some of my clients, are really working and paying bills paycheck to paycheck. And yet, and that's okay in some cases for them. But other ones are making quite a bit of money, and they still fear that if they could lose their job tomorrow, and then they'd be on the street. So when you're caught up in that treadmill living, you're not seeing clearly, and you're not able to really say, okay, what's really true, and how secure am I? Because security is a state of mind. Right? So even though you may have money coming in, which I did for many years, I still didn't think I was secure. I was still afraid that, it could all be taken away. And that happens quite a bit with the clients that I work with.
So it can take a number of different forms, it sounds like.
Yeah.
But in your case, you might get the bonus, or even you would expect to get the bonus, but when it came, you're already looking ahead to where's the next bonus? What do I need to do next?
You got it.
You're not pausing to savor the success.
Yeah, and reflect on and be grateful. Practice gratitude with the beautiful life that I was able to create up until that point, with everything that I had put into it. And like you said, instead I was just, okay, check, got that, move on. What's next? And that's that relentless lifestyle that honestly our world has created for all of us, because with the 24/7 global businesses that are on around the clock, 7 days a week, there really is an expectation that you're not going to pause and reflect, that you're going to keep pushing forward. You're going to, there's more you can do. There's more you can get. And that's part of the super speed world we live in today, which, it's easy to get caught up in that, because you don't want to be that unusual person that isn't fitting into that expectation, isn't fitting into that norm that's now been created.
Right. Now, you and I have talked a little bit, and I know your personal relationships, your family relationships are something that's important to you. Can you talk a little bit about how your treadmill living affected that area of your life?
Yeah, definitely. With as I was on the path of more and accomplishment and achievement and career involvement, which I loved and I continue to love. I continue to love to expand my career. I just have a different focus right now with my business. But I still have that desire to make a difference in the world and do my best in what I do. Mm-hmm. But when I was in the treadmill life instead of the slowed down life, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But when I was caught up in the treadmill life, I really got disconnected from the people that I care about most, and I was always waiting for that next trip to be over, that next month to be over, so that I could spend more time with my son, or I could go visit my family in Philadelphia, or whatever my plans would be. And it was always way out in the future. So what happened was I really missed what was right there for me to enjoy, and that's every moment that I have with my child, or every moment I have with colleagues and the people I worked with. Right. I worked with some tremendous people around the world, and I had fun with them at periods of time, but I really missed the connection that was right there for me. And instead, I felt alone many times. I felt that, I was on this rat race, and I was on this treadmill, and I really didn't have anybody coming along with me. I felt really abandoned in a lot of ways. And that was all a state of mind. I understand that now. But at the time, I really thought there was no other choice, that's all that was possible because of the type of lifestyle I was living.
Right. I'm kind of getting an image of you on a treadmill, and you're with a lot of great people, but they're on their own treadmill. So you're kind of going along in parallel without connecting.
Exactly. Yeah, and if you look at the gyms today, people have their earbuds in. They're not talking to each other. And so it's exactly like that, just on different paths as you're working in the company.
Right. Well, how about we talk a little bit about the flip side, and maybe you can tell us a little bit about your transition, and maybe this is not a transition that's complete, but a transition from the treadmill life to the slowed down life.
Yeah, and it's definitely a journey, right? There's no end point, which is great because I'm loving the ride that I'm on now, and it came with getting the exposure to coaching, which is what I now am involved in as a leadership coach. But the slowed down life for me now is a way of being. It's a way of every day waking up and saying, okay, what would I like to create today, given what I'm up to, right? So what I'm up to is helping people achieve their dreams, really enjoy their lives and love the work they do, and feel great about the relationships that they create. So that's what I'm up to now. Mm-hmm. And I'm able to model that myself because I've slowed down. And it's not slowing down meaning I'm sitting on the couch half the day. It's just in my head, the state of mind and my state of mind has slowed down. So I no longer am having thoughts about getting into the future or having thoughts about it's going to be better when.
Right.
Instead, I really have slowed down to just let some clarity sink in. And I gave to one of my clients a snow globe because we had a conversation about, when a snow globe is shaken up, you can't see the beautiful scene that's in it. Mm. And that's what my state of mind was on the Treadmill Living. It was a shaken up snow globe. And the slowed down life is really allowing clarity to come in, letting yourself settle, letting your thoughts settle. And there's different ways I do that. And I talk quite a bit about that in the book. With, one simple, quick way is to just sit and breathe, take a few deep breaths. Another simple way is to take a walk in between meetings, take the stairs, maybe go up a flight, to the next level and then back down to the meeting room. Just to allow some space to get some clarity. Mm-hmm. And it just physically will slow you down, but it mentally slows you down.
Yeah. So
that you can make better decisions, you can enjoy the relationships, the connection of the people that are right next to you, right in front of you. That's what living, and it's moment by moment. It's not, next week I'll do it. It's really right now.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying talking to you on this audio podcast, right?
Right.
That's all that matters to me right now, and it's beautiful. And when we finish, I'll go on to the next thing, whatever that is.
So, when you talk about a slowed down life or a slow life, you're not talking about a lazy life. You're not talking about a life where you don't have goals anymore, or some kind of retirement where you're just on your rocking chair on the front porch.
No, but that could be part of it.
Sure.
But no, absolutely. It's a paradox, right? You're actually more productive when you have that mental clarity and that slowed down way of being. You're much more effective. So you get more done in less time. Mm-hmm. And so actually you're going to achieve more because you're able to do it in a more relaxed, efficient way that doesn't burn you out, like the treadmill living does.
Right. So it seems like
and it's much more enjoyable.
Yes, definitely. Seems like there's a kind of a deliberateness about it.
Yeah. Yeah, it is consciously choosing, who am I being in this moment and how's it working for me? given what I said I want to accomplish, given what I said I'm up to. So when you mentioned, it doesn't mean you don't have goals. You still have goals. You still have a direction that you're heading in and a purpose you're serving. It's just now I'm checking in with myself to say, okay, what I'm spending time on right now, does that support the direction I'm going in, or is that holding me back from moving towards that? And it's very empowering to be able to decide that moment to moment and know that there's no one I have to wait on. There's no one else that needs to decide for me. I can do it always within myself.
Great.
And it's very liberating.
Well, thank you, Sherry. I think we're about out of time for today, but this has really been, I think, a good introduction to this whole notion of the treadmill living versus the slowed down life. And I think everybody that hears this is going to have a lot to think about. Yeah,
thanks, Phil. There's a lot to talk about it, so I know I'm looking forward to having some more conversations around it. And it is just taking some time to think about what came up, for each person individually, and what does it mean for them, because it's going to mean something different for everyone, which is great. That there's no right or wrong, So thank you for having the time for me today.
Great. Thank you.